Button pushed. Good evening and welcome to Hangout in the Crib. I'm the BP Professor and we are here with the Battle Pirates Crib crew. I already introduced myself and we've got Irf.
Good evening.
And Daniel.
Hi, everyone.
And Hefe.
Howdy, folks.
This fine group of men is going to talk to you tonight about Battle Pirates, the game that you hate to love.
Hate to love and love to hate.
Yeah. So they changed the FM again, and we've gotten our first looks at it. And the prizes in the FM are the escalation weapons. So we'll take a look at that stuff. And should we get to it?
Well, you skipped over one of the important parts of the show.
The beer part?
Well, yeah, we got to get our sponsorship in.
Okay. So tonight
we don't advertise for the show.
Tonight I'm drinking Moorline Ale, which is another local brewery, and I got the Citra Pale Ale, which is pretty nice. So.
Okay, we can move on.
Stay hydrated.
There you go. It's actually 95% water, so you know.
Yeah.
It will help.
Something like that. All right. So we've got what?
Well, you've noticed that the last two race sets have been based off of albums by sort of arena metal bands that were most popular in the 80s. Originally, the last one was Rush. What was the previous raid? I don't know. This is the album cover for Trial by Fire by Journey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and the next one is also going to be a 80s metal band. So. But
Okay.
We probably don't need to skip over that because that was our opportunity to talk about Trial by Fire.
Oh yeah, let's talk about the raid.
Yeah.
I spent 0 and got lots of points. I mean, they changed it up a little bit, but not really.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. They did make a change in the Fangtooth target. At some point, once I think they started figuring out that people have figured out a workaround at the beginning, because you could go in there, it's fixed now, so I guess nobody can use it anymore. But if you went in the Fangtooth Abyss target and you activated the ships, and then you ran away from them, they would run off towards the middle. And then you could just go in and kill the two gluttonies without being harassed by their fire. But they did change it after a couple of days where some of the Fangtooth or Daggertooths and whatnot would get too close for you to take out both of those gluttonies. Because by doing it that way, you didn't take any damage and you could do it fast enough that that wall didn't pop up that forced you to go through the corrosive field. We don't have the picture here at this point, but they did make that change some point in the middle of the raid. But yeah, it was a lot of points. I mean, probably the most interesting person to hear from this is Irf, because he was he had the Tideseekers and whatnot, so he was in a different situation than we were.
45s get boring after 28 hours straight.
Yeah, I'm guessing they got boring after about 30 minutes straight, but
Well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I'm going to say.
But what'd you end up getting, Irf?
I ended up getting Phantom Gluttony, some other bits, a couple of Twin Blades, a couple of Epic Cats. A few bits.
So what, you got like 50 million points on 45s?
No, I got some people to prep for me as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I was doing 45s and I was doing 60 sets, but 60 sets were like 5.5 hours damage a set. So what I was doing was hitting 45s, and then when I really decided I needed some sleep, I'd hit 2 sets of 60s back to back for 800,000 points, and then set it to repair whilst I slept.
Did you have Tideseeker tokens?
Did I have Tideseeker set tokens? Yeah.
Okay, because if you refit them to the Houndstooth, because you weren't using the Houndstooth, were you?
No.
Okay, because it's a different beast when you put that on.
I know, yeah. I just haven't managed to get around to doing it yet. My shipyard's is always full at them, so.
Actually,
Okay.
I think the what is it called? The Mayhems are better because of the resistance. They actually last longer.
Okay. I don't know. I refit my Tideseekers to have Houndtooths from Mayhems, and I didn't hit any in the raid targets. But as far as all the other targets, they just deliver damage so much faster. Their GPS is way higher than the Mayhems. That and also the issue that I had was the Mayhems weren't hitting much because I have one Mayhem in my Fangtooth fleet. It never hits crap. I mean, you can just see that thing. I have 49 Deliriums and one Mayhem, and you see that thing just way off in left field, just missing everything because of
Wait, are you talking about Mayhems or are you talking about the Fire Twister?
Mayhems.
Mayhems.
Yeah, I'm talking about Mayhems
Well,
because it's dumbfire.
Oh, Mayhems are dumbfire too. Okay.
Yeah, and it actually has a slower projectile speed than the Hellwraith, slightly, as I recall. And
Okay.
so yeah, it would be way behind everything. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend the Mayhems personally.
I thought they have a higher projectile speed.
Double check.
Let me check.
Okay. But either way, my Mayhem wasn't even in the neighborhood of the actual ship that was being fired at. It might hit a ship that was trailing behind, but it wasn't hitting the original ship. So.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I had my hunter fleet usable for this one too, so I'd hit a bunch of Fang targets. I'd hit like a hunter target, and then I didn't have much charge on it, so I'd take like 3 hours repair from a hunter target, but it doesn't matter because I wasn't taking any on my Fangs, so I could just slow repair the hunters. Do it every once in a while. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I was doing the abyss targets for instant repair on the map.
Yeah.
But I did them slowly and deliberately and whatnot.
So people that were using hunters were talking about loading up with like 4 C1 CTs, all concussive armor. I don't know if any of us were in that situation. I mean, I only had the one explosive charged, no concussive.
I don't know. I hope like 2 and 2 works because that's what I have on my hunters right now.
Yeah, I kind of worry about over specializing. I think the point might be though that the hunters already have really high explosive damage resistance when you group 5 together. But I wouldn't go 0 explosive charged.
Yeah, right now I'm planning on. I think all of them have 1 and 1, and I'm planning to go 1X, 2 concussive. Just because the amount of time until we can actually, with the escalation weapons that came out today.
Yeah.
What do I actually plan to get on them before the next raid? So that's my plan, is just 1 and 2, and I basically, most of my hunters only have 1 of the Houndstooth, so I'm not forced to be taking stuff off. So I'm just going to be putting the Wolf's Tooth on there.
Yeah, you've been talking about.
Google, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you've been talking about that strategy for a while, and I mean, I guess we're not surprised that these escalation weapons came out, but I didn't follow that strategy. I put weapons on and not much armor, and then I was able to use them in this raid. So, okay, we'll probably end up in the same place.
Yeah. I did the same thing. I used my for these raids. I was using the Fang Tooth, and I kept my hunters just in the background, just without weapons, and added just charged armors and stuff that I knew was going to be relevant going forward.
All right.
So now it's all refit time now.
Yeah. All right. I think we're done with raid talk.
Yeah. I just wanted to get feedback, and does everybody still feel like we felt 6 months ago that the 3-month raid cycle is a mistake?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just double checking on that one since we're gonna run into the to the end of this, but yeah.
Yeah, I
guess
guess
we're done with the raid.
All right. They went down for about what, 4 hours today?
Before that, they came back up at 4:20 Eastern time today, and they went down just a couple minutes after the update was completed at noon. So a little over 4 hours.
Speaking of 420, here's George.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, dudes.
Hey.
But yeah, so they were down for a while, and then they came back up, and I'm sure Kixeye had their best men working on the servers, just like these two.
Yeah, they were working hard.
Mm-hmm.
I like this picture. It's a good one. All right. So in the update were some bug fixes. Oh, they fixed the stupid splash damage reduction being additive.
Okay, yeah, they did it selectively.
Oh.
They fixed the splash. I haven't heard back, but I have a message out to GDA. They've managed to fix the splash damage reduction being multiplicative on ships. They haven't fixed it for turrets and buildings in your base.
All right.
So yeah, on the picture on the left is what you would get now with that build. The picture on the right is what you would have gotten prior to the update. So as far as we know, this is just a graphical issue where it's 65 for 10 warplating 3s, and where it used to show 99%. So it was showing it to be additive before, but I have not seen any fixes associated with the turrets at this point. So, yeah, they don't like to tell us about bug fixes anymore, which is a little odd. I don't know why, but because if it's not fixed during the update, they don't seem to tell us about it.
Yeah, and this is a big one, and this I think this was pushed last week actually, and they forgot to mention it. By the way, guys.
Yeah, they probably just didn't know.
Oh, that's even more depressing.
All right. VXP weekend coming up. Mostly the usual thing, except the level 100 you cannot retreat. So that kind of sucks because people were definitely feasting when they kill a few ships and retreat and kill a few more.
Yeah, I think it's an awful move. I really think they're going to see much lower participation in the VXP weekend, partially because of this, and partially because a lot of people don't have that much stuff to rank up if they're, at least I don't.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. I have like a gut spill Skyfire that I built for the last FM type that I could rank. I probably won't even coin to rank it because now I don't need it so much.
Yeah, I want to rank up my Inquisitor, but I'm not going to. I wouldn't spend any coins on it either because I can use the Conqueror VXP tokens in order to get that. Because I'll have all of my my sinfuls on my Inquisitor by the end of the night, and see how that works out. At least as far
Nice.
as it being a defensive hall.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it's interesting that they, it's something that I always thought they were trying to shy away from, is putting out a shitload of TLCs during VXP weekend, because that's something that the player base has pushed back on pretty hard. But as I think we have 6 out now, we've got a record number of TLCs during VXP weekend, which doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I blasted through Defensive Arts yesterday, and then you can hold off on the Call to Arms. Those are going to be out for 2 weeks, so you might want to wait on those and prioritize the Rivals ones if you're interested in those. Even
I didn't even get to see the other Rivals ones. Only 7
it's
days.
the Liberators, it's the Survivors, and it's the Incinerators.
I meant the. I'm sorry, I meant the time. Are they only 7 days as opposed to the
I'm
long?
not even sure.
There's
There's
5 days left. 5.5 days
really?
left. Yeah.
They only gave us, wow.
Yeah.
How nice.
Yeah, it'll be in the slides. I took the screenshots of the time remaining on them. So
yeah, good tip. Definitely prioritize.
Yeah, and those 3 Rivals, I kind of like the Survivors, but Liberators, and I don't think Incinerators were ever that useful, were they?
Well, we've got new weapons for them, but I don't see how they're relevant in the game unless you're. We're going to talk about those later because we have slides for them.
All right.
But I don't see how they're that relevant with the Omega Cannon out.
Yeah. Okay.
They might be good for players that want to do the TLCs in the future to get better stuff, but I don't. As far as hitting bases or bounty or something like that, I don't see them being that relevant.
Okay. All right. Forsaken mission changes. They upped the points by quite a bit on most of the targets, so that's good, especially at the low end. Again, which is nice. How many? Tier 1 is only 1,000 points, right?
Don't know. To be honest, it's quite bad.
I wanted to add up and see how many points we needed in just for tier 5 again. I just wanted to see how many we had to run.
So tier 5, most of the prizes are 1.2 million. So it's 4 targets for a prize.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little. I mean, it's better than it was last time. It's still a little more than what we've seen.
So if it's four targets for one prize, and you want to get the prize and then the
tier
token,
4,
right?
Well,
I mean,
okay. But look,
I'm just saying, like with tier 5, you have like the prize and then the token. That would be a total of 8 targets, and then that's not counting the rest of the FM. I mean, we're still at like a god awful amount of friggin' targets.
So okay. So here's how I look at it. Right. It was for one run. It was 3.5 targets before, right? And now it's 5 and a small fraction.
Mm-hmm.
So, but last time it was over 7, I believe, for one pass through. So it's still an increase. It's not great, but it's an improvement from before.
It's an improvement, but I mean, with the damage that people are seeming to take.
Well, 0 on my account.
Well, yeah, you got 0, and I don't even want to get into the whole friggin' ballistic zealous bullshit. That thing should never ever have been working the way it does now. But a regular people's fleet is apparently still taking some significant damage. I mean, I got mine down to 45, but I was stacked. My zealous only took 6 minutes and like a couple seconds of damage.
All I'm going to say is seismic rounds, and that's that. I'm not going to say anything else.
So I use my icebreakers. I got an hour 15, but I haven't refit. I was gonna do a new countermeasure ship with a lot of gales on it to get the UAVs down. I think that'll really do well.
I
So
will
we'll
say
see.
a dual Zealous offset fleet build works really well.
Okay.
Mhm.
The only problem is you have to build a second Zealous.
Yeah.
There's a click here for that.
Oh, I didn't see that. 1 day in tier 3? That's pretty
Yeah,
sweet.
there's a 1 day
2 days.
generic, and there's a 1 day Zealous that have been added.
Okay.
I wish.
So you can
I
get
wish
2
there was
days
a
of
lot more.
Zealous because there's a 1 day on. Oh no, it was just on tier 3. That's right.
Yeah, but they're
So,
cheap.
okay, so now adding the 1 day build token in tier 3, that brings the number of tokens in a cycle almost to parity with the old way, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's getting close. Yeah, and you can claim you can claim as many of those top prizes as long as you have the points, correct?
Yeah, so you got to play.
I mean, per tier, you can only claim a prize once up there, but you can claim all those top prizes in a tier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can
So
you can
you-
you cover everything in 1 week if you want to.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's say it's not an example. Tier 3 is not a good example for most players because they have all of them. But do you need to unlock one of the lower ones each time if they're available to claim something above?
Yes.
Yeah.
You mean every week
Okay.
Mhm.
or within the same week?
Yeah. Let's say as an example, I wanted it because I think there's also like icebreaker tokens and monolith tokens. There's a lot of stuff in tier 3 at the top. Let's say I have a bunch of tier 3 things I haven't claimed. Do I need to claim
Just one.
just
And
one to claim? Let's say
it'll
there's 5
unlock
of them.
everything.
Do I?
Yeah, it'll unlock everything up at the top.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify that one.
No, are they going to add more stuff after this? Is my question.
You mean every
Except-
week?
Yeah, every week.
I don't know.
Hope not.
I know.
That's another thing, right? If you have, because a lot of these TLCs need garrison fleets. You might, again, if you're feeling pressure, you might only want to do one of the top prizes, do the chest, and then hold off on the rest of the FM for a following week, and try and do those rivals TLCs if you're interested in those. You got to think about what you want the most and what you want the soonest, and plan for it. There's a lot of overlap right now. So use strategy in your strategy game.
Mm-hmm.
Never.
All right, so here's the new target. Here's the 111. This looks like the target from last time, except instead of the ships coming from the outside, you've got these Drat carriers. One down here at the bottom, one up here, one over here. Oh, one here. And they put out the UAVs that do explosive damage, as I recall. Another tip is usually there's a rocket behind each of these carriers, and if you have a good splash weapon, you can target the carrier and splash out whatever weapon's behind it. Save yourself a little damage.
Mhm.
And then here's the 115. Looks pretty much the same, except these 2 extra carriers in here. And I guess the challenging part is having enough countermeasures to prevent the UAV damage. And for those of you who loaded up on phalanx to try to stop the missiles from last time, now those phalanx don't do you any good in this target. You need
You're
gales.
boned. If you have all phalanx, you're boned. I put on a ton of gales and it helped tremendously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I did an icebreaker run without any refit. I think I said that already today, hour 15. And then I'm going to refit with some gales. Actually, I'm going to build a new icebreaker with a bunch of gales. So I can swap in countermeasure ships. Yeah, all right. Anything else about the new FM?
I'll post my video later with the build and everything.
I'm wondering how the Zelos Empyrean fleet's faring in the same target.
I don't know. I'm using 2 Zelos and icebreakers just to kill the carriers off, really. Only because, funnily enough, the Drak carriers have got massive resistance to the cannons. So, but they haven't changed the turrets, so the Zelos can still kill the turrets quite easily. What I have done is I've put a sprint on each of my icebreakers just to add a little bit of extra, but I can take on both of the Drak carriers at the entrance of the gate to the inside of 115 and shoot down everything that comes at me.
So you're running a 2 and 3 fleet?
Yeah.
Nice. Very nice. I was gonna say, yeah. All right. I was thinking the icebreak is 2 for Zealous Ballistic, but I don't know. I just really.
It's like it shoots down everything. I mean, I'd done one just before the show, just to show the guys, and the only damage that I got was because I accidentally hit a fucking mine. But it shoots down everything, and it just works really well together. Obviously, the only difference is that my Zelos are a little bit slower than my icebreakers, but it doesn't really matter because the ring for the countermeasures is so large on it that it kind of covers them anyway, really. So, but it takes about 8 minutes to target, 0 damage, 300,000 points. I'm happy.
Would you want to run through it now or later, like at the end of the show?
I can run through it a little bit later.
Okay.
I haven't got actually the builds to hand and stuff like that, but I'm just currently hitting one now just to do a video on it, and then I shall get that uploaded, and I'll get together the honeys and stuff like that.
Okay.
We'll get sorted.
Nice. All right. Do we have a slide on the Monolith changes?
That's
that later?
End. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's look at some of these prizes. The Nightmare Torpedo. This is the escalation weapon. So more damage, longer reload than the Delirium Torp. You can see the DPS is a little higher, but lower DPS per ton. I think the thing to keep in mind here, though, is if the raid targets have any deflection, then it starts tilting more and more towards the Nightmare.
You mean like the 106 last raid set?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that too. Charge.
Yep.
If they have charge, they'll do that. But even just regular deflection, raid targets have had a couple hundred deflection for a long time.
Yeah. They don't. At least in the data mining, they don't show any deflection. They do
Not
show
yet.
fairly high. Yeah, not yet, but they show fairly high defensive resistances. But the other issue, which we've talked about before with the last escalation, is this DPS is practically is much higher than it is, considering that first hit of 4,200. It takes from the Nightmare. It takes the Delirium a long time to catch up to that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more of an improvement than it shows with merely DPS. We've been talking about trying to come up with an alternate stat and whatnot, but it is higher than the improvement's going to be higher than what you see here as far as the DPS difference of 525 versus 438. Because the first shot, you're looking at with 2,550, something like that. Just the first shot, each more than double the 2.5 times the damage. So it takes a while for that to catch up or even come close. So
yeah, and the other thing is, if you've got your shipyard fully upgraded, you've got a fair amount of spare weight on your fangtooths. So you swap one of these in, and DPS per, if you swap one for one, DPS per ton doesn't matter. It's just DPS.
Correct.
So you might want to swap some of these in, and then if you hit max weight, it's not worth maybe swapping, like losing 2 deliriums and putting on 1 nightmare. So you might want to just do something like that. If you run out of weight after putting 6 of these on, just stop there. I haven't played around with builds yet to see what that works out to be.
Yeah, it does have an hour and 45-minute longer build time.
Yeah, that's not cool.
I mean, the thing is, if you're going to be putting these on, though, I would think that I would want more or as many nightmares as possible just for the thorns ones, if you get your timing off. Because the less projectiles that hit that thing, the less damage you take. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's probably more important in the hunter rather than this, but...
Okay. All right.
And also, I don't know if it's my build or the way I drive or whatnot. I'm not really taking that much damage from the thorns.
I didn't. I drove my subs twice in that raid. That was it.
Okay, yeah, because the trident damage isn't, it's not all that.
Well, you don't take a lot from the thorns, but it's just annoying damage because, it'll push you over the 5 minutes fleet time or 5 minutes ship time, and so it's just more of a pain to repair your fleet when you've taken that thorn damage. It's not like an hour damage; it's a few minutes, but it just makes your raid take longer.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, the Wolf's Tooth depth charge, the escalation from the Hound's Tooth depth charge. Kicks eye again. Use the wrong its.
That's awesome.
I know you like when I point that out, George.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian will.
It's amusing as shit. It really is.
They a long time ago they used to do it right, and then they've been doing it wrong for like a couple years, and just
it's not that hard to
constantly.
contraction and possession. It's not.
They must do it on purpose. I don't know what they must do it on purpose. I can't imagine. Anyway,
and it weighs more than
maybe that's my own.
Yeah, and it weighs more than it is smaller cousin. What? Sorry, I had to read it out like that. I just had to.
Yeah,
maybe that'll make the point.
Makes less sense, but yeah.
Well, that's
okay.
That's how they made it. That's what that its is. That's the contraction.
I know.
Oh, I'm just trying to.
But if you put a "the" in afterwards, it is the smaller cousin. But yeah, because it actually makes it the opposite of what they intended, as opposed to just grammatically.
All right, so let's talk about damage. Again, more weight, more build time, more damage, more DPS, less DPS per ton. So it's pretty much the same story as the Nightmare in terms of how to use it, how to refit it, when you'd want to use it.
Yeah, and this actually is real interesting because Daniel Baker is a guy that I think he's on here too, but he's on TFC a bunch. And he ran a bunch of numbers for me because we were talking about using the strike warheads over the ACP. And turns out when you take into consideration the critical damage, the strike warheads is actually still a better special on either of these two. So if you're refitting and you use the strike warheads for the Houndstooth, not bad. You're not gonna have to refit too much other than that. Now the other thing is the damage difference between the Houndstooth and the Wolves at rank is not that much different within. If you compare 2 cycles of the Hound to the Wolf, it came out like 302,000 versus like 325,000, and that's where I kind of wonder: are they going to do something to the Hunter target where you're going to need the Wolf's Tooth instead of the Hound's Tooth?
Okay, yeah. So again, deflection or
Mhm.
charged armor would be the thing that they could do.
I'm very paranoid about that.
And
'Cause
also,
otherwise,
we're also not seeing stats like minimum splash and things of that nature, which would also make a large difference.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
there's could be hidden stats in here that we're not completely aware of.
Okay.
But you know,
Oh, sorry. Did you have something else to say on this one?
no, it's been predictable. It's just I don't know that it's the way they're doing the escalation weapons, this one and the assault raid. It's not fun. It's not
No, because
like
it's not even like I'm excited for these new weapons. It's like, yeah, I guess it's just a little better. So
yeah, it's slightly better in a certain way, but yeah, like all the other stats are the same.
like
I mean,
if I didn't have a Conqueror shipyard, I'd rather build Conquerors than refit these weapons.
yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because it's not even like you
Maybe
even
I'd
have to,
still
like,
rather build 2 Conquerors at the same time than refit these weapons.
Yeah. Now, look, on the other hand, though, it's kind of a good thing because they're not, totally blowing the power creep out of the water. Like it's not anything crazy different. The only thing that we would have to worry about is what they do to the target next month.
Well, yeah, I mean, right, we're kind of at their mercy. It's totally up to Kixeye as to how necessary they want to make these weapons.
Yeah, because I mean, the main thing they're going to do is they're going to add armor on, and so you're going to run out of space, or you're going to be overtaken by things faster. So you're encouraged to build them to kill them quicker. So the Wolf's Tooth and the Nightmare are going to do more damage. In one instance, you're going to run out of space with the Fangtooth, and with the Hunter, you're going to get overtaken and be taking more damage from more ships over a longer period of time. But there's no real thought into it. Like, okay, well, the splash and all the other stats are the same. It's just we're going to bump it up, 50% one way and cut it in half the other way. It's I don't know that it's fun to try and figure out the difference between the two, because if they change the splash and spread, then you would think about it. But whatever. I'm just throwing that out there as far as somebody likes to look the numbers and figure out,
I'm going to go and refresh my game because we have a thing that says they just removed the speed up slowdown mechanic from the monoliths and the grid monoliths.
So they beat me to it. I have 2 wish list items for the monolith, and so that was one of them. The other one is to put the gridiron field centered on the gridiron instead of trailing behind.
Well, it was always supposed to be like right behind it, like a wake tactical, and they didn't like the fact that we were driving them stacked, and they changed it 2 days before the damn raid.
And the other beauty thing, if they make that field impact the gridiron.
Yeah.
Well, that would be
because it doesn't impact the gridiron.
Yeah.
So
that's
what
I
that
want.
would be the other thing. Yeah, that'd be the other thing.
If they I want those 2 things. So I guess they're doing one of them.
Wait, what? They're increasing the turn and combat speed of the Zealous. What the fuck?
Get those tokens.
I already refit the motherfucker. Son of a bitch.
Oh, get those Zealous tokens. You gotta fix your fleet, man.
I'm sending a ticket. That's some bullshit right there.
Okay. I'm refreshing. We'll see what comes up.
Yeah,
discussion or something.
I'm doing that right now too. Motherfuckers! Like I just did the Zealous, refit the Zealous, and threw it out to see how it did. Got that 40 whatever minutes driving stacked through the thing, and now I got to refit it again. Fuck, motherfuckers! Like I am sending in a fucking ticket right now. I took I had a monolith because I had a bunch of gridiron tokens, right? And I refit it and brought it into the target. And I go into the target, and my missile that I use to spot isn't showing up in the combat. I was like, what the hell? Like, I didn't even realize until I got up to the first turret, and like it started shooting at me. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm supposed to outrange this shit. What's going on? Yep, dead fleet from that. That was fantastic. That was great. Just great. Going to the base, missiles there. SFB-3 is there. Going to the target, nowhere to be found.
Weird.
Yeah. Now my Monolith is up to a combat speed of 59. And yeah, the special abilities just adds explosive damage as far as stacking your monoliths. I'm gonna have to look at my gridiron.
I got to see how this
Was there
how the Zealous goes now.
Yeah, I'm just wondering with the timing of it, if a lot of the player base is going to find this as a good thing or a bad thing. Because like you said, you've been refitting, and you're trying to run things in a certain way, and okay, yeah. Well, good thing my gridiron monolith.
It's fucking bullshit. That's it. Simple end of discussion.
It's what?
It's just bullshit. It's just end of discussion, isn't it? Stupid thing to do it now, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I don't know why they mess with the Zealous. I mean, if they just removed the speed up, slow down mechanic from the monoliths, period, I think people would have been, yeah, okay, cool, right?
Yeah,
but yeah,
George,
Zealous
could you launch a ship and figure out if where the field is now?
Okay, this is weird. My Zealous is actually slower than my Monoliths. That makes no sense.
Mine are exactly the same speed. They both have a combat speed of 59.
Yep.
Because you put a different engine on them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the same engine on
the Zealous is designed. The Zealous is designed to go faster than the Monoliths.
Yeah,
it's supposed to stay ahead of them, and now it's not. It's falling behind. That's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
I see the ballistic Zealous are keeping up with their.
Why don't we, Larry? Why don't we fast forward to the slide, the appropriate slide, and then defensive arts, da 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 da.
Yeah, TLCs we've had before.
There we go.
Oh, well, there we go.
Yeah. So, I think I was right.
Well, I mean, this has been coming. That there's been a universal absolute hate of the speed up, slow down mechanic.
No, really?
What was it like?
Really?
It sucked. This is what it was like.
I think that this is this is mistyped. I think that he meant that they've increased the turn and combat speed of the Monoliths, not the Zealous. Because my Zealous is slower than the Monoliths now.
Here, let's see. So I just put out.
What the fuck?
All right. Well, so my fleet with my Zealous Monolith was matched. Here.
Okay.
And then
the field appears to be in the same spot.
Yeah, the field's in the same spot, and I don't.
It makes it less of a pain in the ass to drive.
I mean, this fleet's pretty well matched now. I guess the Zealous turns a little slower, and it's maybe traveling a little slower.
I wonder what they did to the res trigger. Did they leave it the same?
The what?
The res trigger.
Huh?
Was there a tracker? I don't know. That's the long story with Rum and his, because he put resonance capacitor, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
res cap.
Yeah.
Because it said that it was going to be on there.
Even though everybody told you not to.
No, they didn't, George. I did it before anybody said anything. And it worked before they made the change. It worked perfectly.
right. Well, so
Well-
that's a story. It seems like maybe that was a mistype that they changed the Zelos. That's my opinion, which is good.
No,
Right.
I think it's very good. I wish we had more Zealous tokens.
Yeah,
So now,
they actually, I think they increased the base now because before mine was 57 and like 56, or it was like 57.8 and 57.2. It was like my Zealous was just barely faster, but now in game the Zealous says 57, but the monoliths say 59. I wonder what they changed. I wish they would say what they changed. Like you make that kind of change and there's no explanation or like
Well,
it's
I mean, if
hey
we go
surprise
way
they
back,
changed.
find what the. Oh, see, my monoliths are 61, but that's because they have a speed 6 on them now.
Mm-hmm.
And then my Zelos says 57. That's with speed system 4.
Yeah, see that's what I ran. I ran speed system 4, and
Yeah,
then
I got that from your
running
blog, George.
and I was running the. Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. And I was running hydraulic resistors on the monolith, and it was, it offset perfect. And now all my monoliths are outrunning the fucking Zealous, and the Zealous is the defensive damn tank. Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Well, maybe I can drop speed 5 on my Zelos now.
I
Then
can't.
I'll have
I've
speed
already
6 on the
reset.
monos. Maybe that'll bump it
Ah.
up enough. Or, now that the monos don't have the speed up, maybe it's not as big a deal to have the Zelos outrun them. Because back when they had the speed up slowdown, it was a huge pain.
Yeah, well, I wanted them out
'Cause-
there. I wanted it out there ahead of because I drive stacked. I drive lazy as fuck. So when I drive, I just want the mono to. I mean, I just want the Zealous to creep up ahead, so that way any of the missiles target that and not the monos.
Yeah.
It's just laziness on my part.
No, I mean, it makes it easy for you, and making it easier to drive means you're less likely to make mistakes. I don't think it's just lazy. It's good strategy.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't know. But I mean, it'll make it easier to plan your fleet, right? Because you can see the speeds right in front of you, and you don't have to worry about, what's the speed really going to be of these monos when they get boosted.
Yeah, well, unfortunately now I got to refit just fucking bastards, and I already used my Zealous token.
All right. Should we run through the rest of the stuff in the slides? Sure, I say yes. New
Yes.
turret special for concussive and penetrating defense. I don't see this being super valuable. A concussive gun for generalists. Now, the old Gatling gun was not hull class limited, but this one is. So I don't know what you're going to use this on. Pyrian? Zelos?
Yeah, that's about it, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
That one, it's actually only for the Empyrean because it's
because
a heavy weapon.
Yep.
Oh, a heavy weapon.
Yep.
I see. I don't get these heavy weapons on the Empyreans. Like, they're mortar chuckers. So,
Yeah, it's weird.
yeah.
They,
I've never built one, so
yeah, but they're also generalists, so it makes sense, kind of, in a way.
doesn't. I've got to see those, and they're built, so anything.
But I don't see this weapon being all that useful on Empyreans. Even if you have like a Zealous Empyrean fleet,
Only
what
if
does
you're
this
gonna
do
use
for you?
like. I have no idea, honestly. I was thinking mostly like if you want to use a whole fleet of Empyreans for the raid, for this raid type.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'll build an Empyrean someday.
Someone's
Not
just
likely.
me and said that the game was down because the Conquest Yard was handing out free ships.
Oh, nice.
Shit, I wish
Miss
someone
all-
told me that. Damn.
Yeah.
Miss all the
me
good
too.
stuff.
I know. I miss all that shit. Damn it.
Billing.
Katie's anyone?
Yeah.
But not out of the
Out of the
conflict.
Conquest, yeah.
No. Could have popped out some twin blades.
Mhm.
Yep.
Or those sloths I scrapped.
I don't know. I was getting another beer, but does anybody find it odd that well, as far as the Empyrean escalation, were you guys talking about that?
A little bit.
Isn't it weird timing?
Like, I just don't know what this is for.
It's for the raid to put on your Empyrean, and it's like, why
Now?
Yeah. You put this out, after the first raid, before the first raid, something like that. You don't put it out now. It doesn't make any sense. I'm like, who's going to put this on? Because it has like the build time's like somewhere between 5 and 6 days.
Yeah.
I'm going to rush out and do this. It's
Okay.
perfect time for me to do this. Yeah.
Earth. Even I don't think you're that dumb.
Even you.
All right. Sorry, man. Okay. Let's get into the TLCs. They got defensive arts for charged armor. I mean, if you've got charged armor on Phoenix, you can blast through this pretty quick.
If you have the tools, you can win the tools.
Yeah. People who are still running Apollos aren't doing so well in this, I'll say. So, sorry, guys.
So it's the way. It's ridiculous.
Well, the first
talking about this last week, having to have the tools in order to get the tools. It's not exactly the best way to do it, is it?
No, but I mean, in the first prize pack can be done with the Apollos. The problem that I have is, usually this stuff is progressive in nature, and there's nothing here that you can progress from one to the next, because what you need to do prize pack 2 with Apollos is agility. Is it agility 4? Is that what it is? Whatever the slowdown thing, whatever the hell the mechanic is in this target. I can't remember them all anymore. But there's no progression. I don't know if it helps enough. I don't know if anybody's actually spent the time to refit the damn Apollos to find out.
Because the targets must have changed. Because I remember watching people do it with agility 4, and it was still a fail. But I don't know if they've changed the targets for Apollo, because it would just sit there, and then the drones would come and eat them. So I don't know if they've changed the targets so that works at this point. Because I know originally that did not work. So maybe they've changed some things so that it does work. I mean, for those people that because I don't know if agility system 4 is the correct way to hit the higher levels.
Yeah, I don't
All right.
know.
Monolith TLC. You need garrison fleets, so need garrison fleet to get more garrison ships. Just build tokens. So this one maybe isn't so critical. I didn't finish this one last time.
Yeah. Unless you want to, somehow through the game they're going to keep on making you refit your monoliths in crazy ways that aren't expected. I guess there's no real reason to have all these tokens if you already have everything else.
Yeah.
But there is a slight chance that they're going to make you refit your monoliths in odd and unexpected ways.
Well, if you quit complaining about these FMs, maybe then they won't keep changing the FMs.
No, the real reason they keep on fucking us is because nobody wants to play bounty. And that's the real reason they keep on twisting that screwdriver in your back.
Yeah. It's that, and also the fact that they want to try and stop me from doing it for nothing with my Zealand.
Well, I seem to do that because if they wanted to, they could take the ballistic and ballistic resistance and put up to 98%, and that would ruin your day. Which
Yeah, no,
is
it wouldn't,
what they
'cause I
used to do
use
on
my
the
ice
older.
poker to kill the
That's what they
target.
But that's what they used to do on the older targets. Is
Yeah.
they would get the resistances so crazy high that if you didn't bring in the weapon type that they wanted, you're just going to sit there for 5 minutes trying to kill something.
Like the
Yeah, like
VXP targets.
Yeah, it's good. It's good defense squids when I prep them for like the lower players in our group, and they haven't got cannoneers or anything that's got long enough range on them to hit the turrets. So they go in there with Apollos, and it takes like 9.5 minutes to kill half of a turret
Mm-hmm.
to finish them off. But
Yeah. In some ways that's cool. I mean, I like the fact that they've done that. Because if you look at like when we entered the garrison target, it allows people to be more creative at the beginning of it. You know, because you could use Apollos on the you could use them on the garrison targets. Originally, you could use a lot of things because that's when they started removing those resistances. But now, once they start planning for that, and then they keep on, I don't know. I'm not even really sure what they're thinking at this point. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to think. But I would do this unless you have a ton of monolith tokens, because it seems like we keep on seeing new iterations of the targets. We're seeing changes to the monolith, which may cause you to want to refit them. And with a 3-month raid cycle, you don't have a lot of time to, and in the escalation weapons, you don't have a lot of time to do other things. If this is an easy thing for you to do, because the monolith TLC is easier than the icebreaker TLC. It
Is it
offers
really?
less prizes. Oh yeah, it's much easier. Monolith is much easier than the icebreaker because they have that old 100 target.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, in the icebreaker one, the monolith one is much easier.
Okay. Speaking of the icebreaker one, here's the icebreaker one.
just before we go into that, if you use my Zelos to do these 2 TLCs, does it for free as well.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So yeah, icebreaker tokens. A couple of them charged armor. I mean, I anytime you have an opportunity to pick up some charged armor, it's probably a good idea to do it.
Yeah, and it's also good for players that haven't built the Saga's icebreaker.
Yeah.
Because you can stack up these tokens, these Visagas. I'll finish this and I'll have 20. I haven't built the Visaga's icebreaker.
Oh, it's great. I love it.
Yeah, it adds some combat speed and it adds some explosive damage, and so which will be nice as far as a lot of the targets. But if you can keep on stacking these build tokens, you can instant build it.
Yep.
Not with the 10, but if you get 20 or 30, you're on your way. I mean, it's going to suck up some charged armors, but I looked at it and I had enough. No, I guess that's true. I did not have enough VXP to rank it up completely, so that would be an issue. Because some of these things I've looked at, like the monoliths, I could rank up just with tokens. I could skull a couple monoliths if I wanted to build more.
Yeah.
But personally, I'm not in the position to do that with the Saga's icebreaker because you're only getting 10,000 per.
Yep.
And does anybody know what they get skulled at? Is it 60, 50,000?
I want to say 49. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah, 49K.
Okay. So you would need to do this 4 times as far as the VXP, as opposed to 2 to 3 times in order to get it built. If you're following what I mean. So, you would have to take it out on a TLC weekend, and this doesn't appear to be the best one ever.
All right. Now we get into the Rivals TLCs. We talked about these a little bit up front. So here's Incinerator. Again, I don't know how useful these things are.
When they came out, what was the original weapon for them?
I don't know. I've got radon slingers on mine.
Yeah, but that wasn't out at that point.
It didn't. At that point, it was just the.
The old
It was
launchers?
the old ones, yeah.
The old throwers?
The old throwers.
The old throwers or the old launchers?
It was throwers.
Yeah, throwers.
Okay.
I'm looking at mine now because it's got plus 30% thrower damage and plus 12% thrower range.
Okay. So Tefras.
Yeah, Tefras.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But I mean, this doesn't have good deflection. It's got 20k ballistic, 10k corrosive, 3k concussive, and then its field is only another 1500 corrosive, and then, well, I guess it's got another 1000 explosive. I mean, it's just like, it's nothing.
Yeah. And there was supposed to be, there was the poll that they put up on the forums as far as what your choice was, is having a flagship for all the rivals or a flagship for your defenders. So I think both of them are coming out. What you assume? It's just a matter. The question was related to the upcoming raid. I'm just assuming that they're both coming out. It's just how they're going to come out. Because it was like 9-1. People wanted the defender over the.
Yeah.
You know. But
I agree with that.
What order they're going to come out, and I think that's the bigger issue. Because personally, I think that the defender should come out in the raid, and the conqueror should come out in bounty. At least most of them. Because you need to give people a chance to actually get into that. But I don't know.
All right. Plunder. This one's the Survivor. Survivor's got good corrosive defense, so it's mildly, occasionally useful. Not corrosive, concussive. Sorry. I mean, it's still 11k concussive, 150k penetrative. So that's decent.
Yeah,
and then it adds even more penetrative to other ships, other rivals.
And as you see, most of them are skirmish targets. And so people that have the Fangtooth or the Hunters are going to walk over this like it wasn't even there.
Yep.
So.
And then the Liberator, this was the first rival that came out, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, so you got the Liberator has 80k explosive and 9k concussive. And then also gives another 5k explosive to others. So, it's got just a couple strengths and, bases make lots of damage types these days. So,
well, and the Hyena is still worth having.
Yeah.
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 So.
Yeah, Hyenas really ripped these up, didn't they?
Well, I'm just saying they're still worth Hyenas.
Oh, getting the Hyena. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So winning the Hyena is, still a reason to do this. TLC.
True.
If you don't already have it.
Okay. We did this slide, and that's the end. Say goodnight to your lady pirate friend.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good night, lady pirate friend. I'll see you in a couple of minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
But as far as the Monolith change, why didn't they do it? If you could go back to that slide, because
I have one
I know
basic
George
question.
knows why that slide's that way.
I have one basic question for Kixeye. Like, you guys want to do this stuff. That's all well and good, right? But why in the hell are you going to push parts of an update at different times of the day when they all are interactive with one another? Like, why in the fuck are you pushing the mono speed buff now rather than, before the FM fucking started? Two combat speed, and that's they didn't type it right in the forums, but 2 combat speed on the base changes everything. I mean, I have three different builds for tanks.
Well, what's funny is it doesn't actually change the performance of that hull that much, right? 30 versus 32. If you're just cruising along, you barely notice it with a full fleet. But it changes, what you're complaining about, which is matching
tank.
other ships.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Because we've had them for so long. Everything that I've built has been very specifically tuned to run a certain way with them. Now all of them are gone. Got to refit all of them. And and it wouldn't have been that bad if they had done this at the beginning, like before the FM came out, because that way I would know ahead of time, hey, I have to blow some of my tokens or some of the 2 days on fixing that. Now I'm boned. I already did it. I blew the tokens, and I can't, I got no more tokens to go and get to fix the Zealous.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you go to Price Pack 3...
But why should I have to when they should have pushed this shit fucking earlier?
Well, they should have pushed it how many months ago?
Well, that's
people got up in arms, and that's why I brought that picture back. As far as the accelerate function and why that picture was there.
Oh, you can explain it, or?
No, I think everybody can figure it out. I mean, that's watched the show before.
Yeah.
But, this is what I thought about the accelerate function. But,
bull with tits.
There you go.
Tits on
a bull.
Tits on a bull. It took me way too long.
Yeah.
It took me a lot longer than that to get that one.
No, I don't think I ever would have gotten it, but I remember you talking about it last time. It just took me a while to get there.
Yeah. All right.
But yes, that describes the accelerate function very well. Unfortunately, it should have been fixed, fucking when it came out.
Well, yeah, it should never happen because that was an add-on function. That was an add-on function to that hull because it wasn't originally released that way. Because they released it, it was the same speed as the Citadel, and everybody's like, "Huh?" And then they designed everything.
Slow as hell. Why do I want it?
In such a bad way, where you had to run by. It was. Sometimes I wonder if they release things broken intentionally in order for people to complain about it. And then, because they keep on giving you these gauntlets. And they, the old Monolith would have never gotten through any gauntlets.
Yeah.
And it's a pain in the ass to try to get through a gauntlet with a Monolith because you have to, sometimes they start you off with this small area to get revved up. So you're going in a circle and you're doing all sorts of crap before you go past that gauntlet. And, I'm not never been a huge fan of, the accelerate function.
Yeah.
So on the right-hand side, in case anybody would like to join the after show, I've posted the link, and you can ask Daniel how to make Battle Pirates great again. Or he's just wearing the hat. I'm not sure.
He really does look like that. He's orange.
Huh? The monoliths, they're orange, and it's all.
But yeah, it is. I don't know. I mean, because I am just confused by how they've been releasing things in the orders that they are, and this is one of the ones that I'm like, everybody's trying to win the escalation weapons. It's not even trying to get the tokens at this point, but it's trying to get the escalation tokens for the raid. And you're changing the target, you're changing the ships we're supposed to hit it with. You're doing, and after the week, after a couple of weeks where you got 4.2 or 4.3 thousand messages saying this sucks, after, it's, I mean, it's a strategy to just like ignite the player base against Kickside. I mean, it could be a strategy. I mean, just to get them so worked up in a lather that they're like, oh, okay, I'm going to go do this just to show them I can figure this out and do something better than what they want us to do. I don't quite understand it.
I don't either.
All right. Well, should we go to the after show or
I'll
do
do,
you have anything
I'll
to
do
say?
I'll do everybody's hard work for them and just post the video with the build and how to do it. And
Did you?
Uh,
Awesome.
Nice, mate.
Awesome.
What was that? I
You
just
put.
said?
Hey, did you toss it over to TFC too? Earth.
F.
doing it as soon as I finish doing it, I shall.
Okay, thank you. I'm actually gonna pop off because I haven't had dinner yet, and I might come back later on. I don't know, but everyone have a good night.
Mate.
Good night, George.
You too, George.
Good night, mate.
All right. Well, I guess I'll wrap up the broadcast. Even though we're only an hour and 26 minutes in. No, we're not even an hour and 26. We started like 10 minutes late.
Yeah.
Because I realized after our last show on Friday, we had more viewers at hour 3 than we had it at 20 minutes into the show. So,
Just dedicated motherfuckers.
Yeah. They like to,
Thank you,
I think
dedicated motherfuckers.
Yes, exactly. Yes, and they like to see how the show winds up. There must be some sort of plot line towards the end of it.
Yeah, you go just wind them in the back.
Is one of them going to fall on the floor, or something may happen later in the show? So they just keep on watching. But yeah, we appreciate it. I mean, but I'll post the link one more time. And parting words, anybody?
Hefe, you do a nice job with the show.
Okay. Well, thank you. Rum?
Somebody in my sector chat just said that. So
Okay.
No, Room doesn't have much to say.
Yeah.
Get on late. I'm sorry.
Oklahoma should be ranked number 2. Is that what you said?
No. I think it's going to work out well.
Yeah, you're very good at pressing the button.
I'm very good at what?
Pressing the button. I don't even know.
I don't know what that's about.
That
I've
was
had
for
some women
Hefe.
tell me that, but I'm not sure what that is coming from her. So, alrighty then. Well, we'll see you all on Friday, and potentially we might be doing a